And I like to tell people that while other women might receive flowers and, diamond rings and earrings and pearl necklaces, my husband has consistently blessed me with new phones, laptops, things that speak to each other. And he's been amazed at my ignorance, that no matter how much stuff he gives me, I still can't figure out how to make it work. But very, very grateful to him. And I'm grateful for you too. I'm grateful, really, this is a sincere thing from my heart. Anytime I get to be in a room full of people who lead and love and serve in church life, just to honour what you do. We are on mission together, and I pray for you. I don't even know everyone in this room, but I feel really grateful for what God's doing in Townsville and for, what he's put in our hands. And that leads a little bit into what I'm going to share today. Look, in all honesty, the organisers did sort of mess up by asking Chris and I to share, because neither of us love risk assessment. And here we are talking about risk. If you want to start my slide... Oh, no, I'll start it. I forgot. I'll start my slides. I was known. I used to work in a government agency and run a very large youth department, and I was known as the rebel because I refused consistently to ever complete a risk assessment, because in my view, they were just a waste of time. And just like Chris said, I didn't want to be constrained or perhaps strangled by risk. And now when I moved into my more mature years and God put on my heart a desire to serve the local church and in many ways to see the church protected, and then also doing a journey with some friends of mine in ministry who've just through no fault of their own, and I hand on heart can say that I've ended up with false accusation against them and just gone through terrible journeys in their ministry life with an absence of documentation or policy to prove protection towards them. My viewpoint started to change, and God seemed to have dragged me kicking and screaming into the world of risk management, where the passion and the motivation for me, in all honesty, is to see his church defended and his church protected. And we do live in an age where if it's not written down, it doesn't count. If we can't put something forward to our insurer, or put something forward to a regulator, or put something forward back to government when accusation, or the judicial system, when accusation comes our way, we are left exposed. And so now I'm on a different mission. I'm on a mission to make sure that churches are in a place where we can defend the work that we're doing. God does it ultimately, but we need to be wise and great stewards with what he's put in our hand. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our journey. I am a pastor at Calvary Christian Church. So if you know Calvary, you know that we have churches in Townsville and across Queensland. We have 7 churches in Queensland. We have a church in South Africa, and we're just about to plant in Papua New Guinea. So we have a lot of staff and we have a lot of volunteers, and that's great. But we want to do our best by them to make sure they're protected and make sure they understand where they fit in the bigger system. So around 2017, I think it was, Daniel, I think it was about 2017, we did have a system in place for risk management and we were working towards it, but seeing growth up ahead in our church life and greater sophistication in terms of multi-campus and greater demand from government and judicial bodies, we thought what we have in place right now is not going to meet our need into the future. And so I'm going to talk about our needs, but just so you know, I'm going to say this is what we needed. The end of the story was RiskEZI was the answer, so you already know the end of the story. But I share where we're at because maybe you're experiencing some of that where you are in your journey right now. So we decided back then that what if we were to ideally put a system in place, what we were hoping to have is a system that was protective of our church. So we identified the basics. This is where our needs were when we started out. Our needs were around risk assessment, incident reporting, so keeping a document of if an accident occurred or if we had a level of disclosure that needed reporting, we followed up. And storage of our safety documents. We wanted really good privacy controls because we realised we didn't want everybody reading everything in the system. We wanted to be able to lock some people out and give permissions to others. We also wanted to have a bit of protection from malicious attack as well. And we wanted to make sure that our key office bearers, so our board, and those that are responsible people in our organisation, were able to read the information that was important to them and were given notifications when that information came through. We also wanted something online. Gone are the days, we felt, in filling in paper risk assessments or filling in a Word document and filing it in SharePoint or something like that. We wanted an online platform that was really easy to use. And we wanted our platform to have historical features to it. So something that we recorded in 2018 might come up and arise as an issue for us in 2030. None of us are going to remember what happened in 2018, but at least in 2030, if we had an online system that allowed us to search our records, we would be able to find that. We wanted something easy to use. Now, you would all be aware, volunteers come and go, staff, team come and go. That's just the nature of church life. So that they could be onboarded easily and that role could be handed over to someone else really easily. We knew that if it was complex, our team would just simply reject it. They wouldn't want to use it. We didn't want a high dependency on, like, train me again, and this is really sophisticated and I don't understand it. So it needed to be easy to use. And something that we're quite aware of, that visuals were just as important as the written text. We wanted our team to land on a page, a web page that just looked pleasant to look at and they could navigate it very, very easily. Secure, of course, we're very aware in this room of our privacy commitments, so we didn't want anybody and everyone reading everything like we said, and that protection from malicious intent. We also wanted a system that was adaptable and buildable. In honesty, we knew that we didn't know everything that we wanted to need right from the start. We knew we wanted to start on those three basics, which were risk assessments, incident reporting, and document storage. We had a sense that there might be things we wanted later on, but we honestly couldn't find them. And we wanted to, those of us that were working on that project, we wanted to actually invite input from other team members in the future as well. So adaptable and buildable was helpful for us. And of course, we wanted great customer service. So I've worked in government roles. I've also worked as a consultant in building systems for people, HR systems, so to speak, coming into situations where teams needed development or teams needed care. I have gone into so many organisations and seen so many systems that were bought, put into place, and then the customer service hand just, well, we've sold it to you, goodbye. And so I've seen organisations, especially people-focused organisations, we tend to have a particular skill set when we're people-focused, and that's people, just drown in and really stop using a system because of lack of customer service. I already told you the end of the story, so, thank you, Daniel. RiskEZI has proven to meet these needs for us, and clearly we took up mountain climbing and social media posting and leather bangle wearing and high-fiving each other at the same time, so that was really good. There are women that work for Calvary, by the way, just so you know. That's a joke. All right, so here's our solution. Can I just point out that as soon as I open this front page, I see what I need. I see a calendar of events that tell me what's coming up in my church in the coming month. I can see where my team are at in doing that planning, because there's colour coding within that calendar. I can see if their risk assessment is still in a draft format, or if they've approved it, or if they're still working with their department head. I can see for myself incidents that I have submitted recently, and they may or may not be open. They may be open or closed. I want to know what my next action is then, so they're right in front of me, and I can see the risk assessments, which is called events, in the top left-hand corner, the ones that I've written that I need to finalise myself. Sidebars, very clear and easy for me to read. So the system is absolutely intuitive. It was built in a way that I can access it. I, who like people and not IT systems and Apple phones, I can access that quite easily. If I can, you can. Now, there's some very important words on here. I didn't write them. actually had to get Daniel to write these, but part of my solution was that part of my needs were that we wanted an online system. So of course it's not paper, it's electronic and it's historical, but if you know computery stuff, you might want to read the bottom half of that slide, and I might give Daniel a chance to speak into it later on, but the way I understand it, and I do understand it, I'm mocking myself at the same time, is that my data is not confused with your data. So I have security in my portal. My organisation is different to yours. That means a lot when it comes to security. We're not enmeshed together. If there's a problem in my area, it won't hit your area. Encryption is just a non-negotiable, and I really don't understand the bottom one, but Daniel does, so ask him. But here we go, easy to use. I can onboard a team member. This is how I onboard team members, because I look after this across Calvary now. I send them a video that has my beautiful voice with some introductory stuff about what they need to know. That video goes for 12 minutes. Then I book a coaching session with them. By the time I get to them, after that 12-minute video, so by the time we meet together on Zoom or face-to-face, most of them have the confidence because they've opened up the program and looked around just to drive it themselves. So literally when I do my face-to-face onboarding, all I'm showing my team is just how we do it at Calvary, what my timelines are, who has what responsibility in our organisation. They've literally figured it out with 12 minutes of training. Great visuals, intuitive navigation, and look how happy they are. It actually is, if I could say that the feedback that I get the most when I'm working with people is this has been so easy to use. They don't say, I love writing risk assessments. Like, quite honestly, no one has said that ever in my whole church life. They don't say, I love it, but they say, actually, if they've worked somewhere else, they usually say, this is easier than what I had to do in my old place of work. Actually, this is much easier. The people in charge, our office bearers, this is what they say. It's actually good for us to be able to log in and quickly see the information that we need. So our board wants to know our level of exposure and our level of risk in the bigger picture. We could actually run reports in RiskEZI that allow us to show all the incidents that have occurred in a certain period. So the board has a very quick and easy sense of where we may be lacking or where we may have strengths. So that's really important to our team. Yep, they covered off on that. And we all bring our laptops to work and have gift bags. Did you notice that it was an Apple computer, Daniel Rudge, just speaking into who God favours? Please don't strike me down, Lord. You know I have no idea about these things. I want to add a couple of things into this presentation. By adaptable and buildable, just understand that if you decide to come on board in this system, you're not using templates that might be clunky and not work for you, especially around accident reports or incident reports. You actually get to build and adapt it according to the simplicity or the sophistication that you need in your church. Multiple modules available, and I said e.g. board meetings because when I said in the beginning we knew where we wanted to start but we didn't know where we wanted to end up, so we didn't want to commit to a system that wasn't adaptable and buildable. Well, we've now reached a stage. I'm actually one of the directors, I'm on the board, so I'm experiencing, and our other board members experience a frustration at the moment with the platform that we use for our board meetings. Our agendas don't work as well, the minutes don't upload as well. So we're in the process of talking to DACTech about redesigning something for us that we can add into RiskEZI that we can use to drive our board meetings. So I really appreciate that in the RiskEZI system and appreciate that availability through DACTech. Because like I said, you don't always know what you're going to continue to need. I'm going in and out, aren't I? But everyone can understand me. I've got a loud Italian voice. We won't worry about that. The modules are built in and customisable. I just wanted to show you some of the screens. So I don't know if you've had a tour of RiskEZI, but just wanted you to see some of the screens. My team love this gender neutral person here because we use this in our accident reporting, and you get to literally injure this little figure here by, indicating an animal bite there and a bruise here and a laceration there. And I have to admit, my youth directors are the worst at doing that. When I invite them to have a play before they actually start using the system, I get all these mock accident reports where I think there's a competition on who can injure neutral man the most. So hope that gave you a chance to have a look at it. I personally want to thank DACTech. They do provide amazing customer service, and I'm not paid to say that tonight, and I'm here really out of my own volition. The customer service that we've had in terms of not only dealing with the problems that arise, but actually helping us understand how we can use our system better is probably, it would have to be, in all honesty, one of the best contracted external providers I've ever worked with, probably due to Daniel's commitment to churches, but also there's a whole heap of intelligence and knowledge within that organisation. So I do want to actively endorse what they do. And I wanted to leave just with this. I don't know where everybody's at in terms of what you want to bring into your organisation, but let's just say you decide to sign up to RiskEZI and you're like, what do I do? DACTech will guide you through the steps on how to get going, but this is what we've learnt. Commit to starting slow. So I told you that we have multiple campuses, and then we have multiple ministries within the campuses. So I have sites in Cairns, Emerald, Rockhampton, Brisbane, for example, and I have a youth ministry and a kids ministry and a pastoral care ministry, a ministry to children with special needs. All of these different departments are submitting risk assessments. I did not start by standing up one day on the 1st of January 2018 and saying everybody needs to do it. We actually rolled it out quite slowly. We started with our highest risk, so we started with our children's ministry and we went campus by campus and we built it from there. Just make sure your decision makers are on board. So engage well with your board, with your CEO, with your general manager. I don't know your structure, but nothing is harder to progress in any organisation when the key decision makers aren't on board. I would actually encourage you to wait till they are on board, in all honesty, to enmesh this in your system. We know this as those who share the gospel, always promote the why, not just you should, but actually the reasons why we do it. If you can have a point person on your team that can provide support to your team members, or even just point them in the right direction when they're a bit frustrated or have forgotten their password. I can't remember how you told them how to reset their password. Just having someone to talk to helps. And we started out by saying, hey, just get your risk assessment in 3 days before the event. And we realised people didn't want to. So that last point was identify your due dates for reporting and adjust as needed. I now ask my youth directors to submit their risk assessments 4 weeks beforehand, which guarantees them at least 5 days beforehand. I'm a former youth pastor. I get to make these jokes. So, have I gone over time? Because I don't really know. Can I take questions? Anyone have any questions? I'm really happy to answer them with regards to the system.
How do you sign up?
Well, sir, my name's Karyn, and I'll have to introduce you to Daniel afterwards. Look, if you do hold an interest, I would encourage you to make an appointment or make a call to DACTech and say, what would it look like for us?